Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the winter campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game. Evening, Philip. Nice to see you stopping by tonight, as we're going to wrap the winter campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, in this video. So, in this video, in case you're new to how I do my campaign outros, hold on just a second. Let me put myself on Do Not Disturb. There we go. In case you're new to how I do these campaign outros, I'm going to talk a little bit about the campaign itself, what I think of it, talk about the investigators and how I thought they were doing on the path I had them on, and then we'll look at what's coming up on the channel. In this case, I do want to have a little chat about why I'm going to the content I'm going to next. So, first up, let's talk a little bit about the Drowned City campaign itself. Everything is actually going, well, things are starting to go sideways on us a little bit. We were starting to stack up a bit of trauma, and actually it'll make more sense if we tab into TTS so I can show you what's going on. So both of our investigators, as you can see here, I'll actually bring Nathaniel and his investigator card together. So they both had 6 sanity, which actually turned out to be part of the problem I was having with this campaign, because the impression I'm getting in my first couple of plays in the Drowned City, my group's doing Drowned City as well in our sporadic sessions of it. I think my play group went west in our campaign, so I went east on the channel just to get the feel for the campaigns. It looks like, from what I was able to see, I'm getting a little spoilerific on this, so I probably should have warned that, yeah, spoilers coming in this video. So if you don't want to be spoiled on the Drowned City, you probably won't want to watch this video. Anyway, it looks like you're going to do all the same scenarios in this campaign, no matter what direction you're going in. You're just going to do them in a little bit different order than what you're doing. So, I did enjoy the campaign, and it sounds like from the end of this campaign, Chapter 2, which is coming later this year, is going to be canon from what happens here, and this is where we're picking up from, essentially. But again, spoilerific on that because I wasn't able to experience the end of this campaign. This is actually a campaign where I was pretty happy with the path I had both investigators on, especially Nathaniel. Once again, Nathaniel turned out to be a badass in this campaign, just like he was in Innsmouth when I did that as the winter campaign 2 years ago, I think. I think last year I did Scarlet Keys as my winter campaign, and then the year before that was Innsmouth Conspiracy. I think that's where I coined one of my terms on the channel, and what I call Akachiing a deck, because with Nathaniel in the Innsmouth Conspiracy, I had Akachi as my clover, and I coined the term Akachiing a deck, which basically means after the first scenario, I wanted to blow the whole thing up and start over with that deck, and I probably would have picked a different clover. I wanted to try something different in that campaign anyway. I wanted to try out a non-traditional seeker, a non-traditional clover, essentially, Evening Jester. I'm just kind of rambling a little bit about the winter campaign and how it went. We're going through the outro of that. Normally I use seekers when I need to gather up a bunch of clues, because seekers are usually your reliable clovers anyway in this game, so I wanted to try something a little bit different. But Akachi just didn't work well for that. I feel like I tend to want to build most of my mystics as being fighty. I think the only mystic I'd feel comfortable giving any kind of an investigator and any kind of a clover role to is Luke Robinson, and the only reason I give him that, actually, we can go get his investigator card here in TTS. Let's see. Here we are. Once this decides to load up, we can see here that Luke is actually Mystic Splash Seeker. So, just to explain a term there, when I talk about a splash, what that means is dipping into another color to get some of the cards from there. You might hear this in Magic the Gathering. Say you're building a deck in whatever format. When you talk about dipping into a color for something, usually it's dipping into black or red for removal is what I hear. That's actually called a splash. So So calling this a splash is basically the exact same idea. So Luke being Mystic Splash Seeker, he gets a lot of the good Seeker cards, especially for Cloovering. There's a lot of good stuff at levels 1 and 2 in Mystic. So he gets access to all of that. And he's the one I'd probably let a Mystic Splash for investigating purposes. But coming back to Nathaniel and Lucius, the big problem I had with both of them was that they both have 6 sanity. And Drowned City seemed like it was dealing a lot of mental trauma out, even more so than usual with scenarios ending. So, again, I was definitely happy with the path I had Nathaniel on. I didn't really have a chance to develop with Lucius too much. Odds are a lot of the rogue stuff that I would have splashed into. There's some stuff at level 2 that I get into with rogue, but I find that most of what I use when I go into rogue is especially when I splash a lot of what I use is usually in that 0 to 2 range anyway, so there really isn't much difference of a splash there. But I'm rambling a bit about that. So I did like where the story was going with the Drowned City, but it just didn't work out. We were taking a little bit too much mental trauma. So that will actually bring the winter campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, to a close. Now let's talk about the reason why I'm going to the content I am coming up in the next couple of weeks. So tomorrow morning, we're going to be starting with some what I call football stress testing, as we're playing second season pro football by Play Games. One of the goals I have for 2025, or for 2026 actually, is I really want to figure out what role football is going to play in my replay library moving forward. And I figure the way I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to just baptism by fire it and put my football games on the channel. I'm leading off with second season football because I think if any of them are going to work, it's going to be second season football. That's of the big three full play games I've got. Second season pro football, season ticket football, and APA football. I'm leading off with second season football because, like I said, I think that's the game that's got the best chance of the 3 to work. And yes, indeed, winter is over now. So Arkham will take its rest, and we'll come back to Arkham Horror, the card game, in about March, April-ish, when it's time for the spring campaign. So back to football again. I'm going to second season football first because I think that's the one that's got the best chance of fitting on the channel. If I don't think second season is going to fit on the channel, then I'm not going to bother with season ticket or APA football. And of the 3, I think APA football is probably the least likely of the 3 to work, but I think it still can. Even though with APA football, I'm having to do a little bit of pre-game, I don't know how I want to put this, like pre-game maintenance almost, where I'm constructing team sheets out similar to what second season and season ticket both have with the teams. That way I've got the roster of who's who. It also is helpful for me. It also is helpful for me in APA to have those team sheets, in that if say a result in the book says I need to go reference 07, I go to the sheet, I'm like, okay, who's 07, go find their card, roll on the card, get the result. Which is a problem, the cards are a little bit of what make APA football such a sprawling mess. Second season is going to be the best, but APA football is the best game. Well, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying there. It's the biggest, but the longest and hardest to play. That's actually why I'm leading with second season on this football testing that I'm doing of the big 3 games. Like I said, I figure if second season isn't going to work, then none of them are going to. So at that point, I will probably end up pulling football, except for Momentum and Glory Days Pro Football, from my replay library. And I'll have to figure out what I want to do with my seasons of second season, season ticket, and APA from there. But that's for me waiting until I actually get those games, actually get second season on the channel tomorrow, and see what I think about it. The last time I played second season football on the channel was during Advent of the Phoenix. The sense I had with it was that I was more fighting with my stream because I was having some technical issues when I was streaming second season pro football in December. I think I was having more technical issues than I was fighting with the system. I feel like I've got the system at least pretty well down, I think. So it's just a matter of getting the reps in, figuring out what I think. It's a matter of getting the reps in, figuring out how to lay everything out, if there are any kind of modifications I need to make to be able to use it as part of a replay library. I already know for a fact that with those big games, pardon the timer going off, I'm actually working on a batch of truffles, and I'm going to need to go shut that up, so I will be right back. Wasn't expecting to be yammering during this. Off. Thank you. As I was saying, except for I figure if none of the big play games work, I still have Momentum Football and Glory Days Pro Football I can use as replay engines. And the way I'm going to do football, assuming I figure out what engines I want to use, is that's going to be a weekend only replay. So Saturday and Sunday are going to be the games I do, and are going to be the days I play games in those replays. And it'll work out a little bit better too with the schedule blocking for the football replays, because the weeks, week 1, week 2, those are basically built-in schedule blocks in terms of dividing the season into schedule blocks. So the weeks work as built-in schedule blocks, and then I can run ticker on. I'd probably play a full game Saturday, then play another full game on Sunday, and run ticker on Sunday. So the weeks actually work out a lot better as my built-in schedule blocks there. But again, I've got to see what I think of the big games on that. But that'll do it for this outro video on the winter campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, along with a slight little bonus chat on where my head's at in terms of the football games. So what all is coming up on the channel? Tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, we will be playing second season pro football by Play Games. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be at... We're at Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, my neck of the woods, as the Kansas City Royals will be helping us get our first look at the Milwaukee Brewers on the board. I forget who the starting pitchers are. I'm not going to go get the score sheets out for that. Wednesday we'll also be continuing the 2001 baseball season replay and payoff pitch baseball. And Saturday next week, Mystical Munchies will conclude out of the official Frozen Cookbook as we make the drink, apple cider worth melting for. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Also, I almost forgot to plug this. Tomorrow night, we will be continuing Jester and I will be continuing our top 100 board games of all time countdown. We'll be going 70 to 61 tomorrow night. That'll be on Jester's channel. So make sure you come by and check that out. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.